Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews on the Ion Cannon Podcast, part of the Star Wars Underworld Podcast Network. I'm Matthew. He's Chris. We got 5 stories to deal with today. Talk about today, not deal
Yikes.
with. Enjoy to talk about today. Of course, we can even talk about a few more. We've got you covered. Phil Noto also has you covered. See what I did there. There we go. First off, I do want to mention few very quick things. Eyes on screen. As of midnight Pacific, this last night, the strike is over. So we can actually talk about Ahsoka, the Space Wizard show, starring Rosario Dawson, Natasha Liu Bordizzo, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and Apatrono Carson Teva, Paul Sun-Young Lee, among others. That's just nice to say. Just get it out of my system. Yeah, we can actually, so congrats to Writers Guild and Screen Actors Guild for getting, hopefully, a fair deal that sustains them long term. Get a quick plug out of the way tonight, right here on the Star Wars Underworld Podcast Network, Underworld YouTube channel, Underworld Facebook, Underworld Twitch, Underworld Twitter. 9 p.m. The flagship pod is coming on. If you have any questions, go to @the_SWU and chime those in. If you're in the Discord server, there's a space to ask questions there. And the fine folks who you haven't seen in a while. Not a lot of you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, really.
I see one of them every day, but that's a whole other story. They're coming on. They're gonna talk and they're gonna catch up, and because the strike's over finally. So there's that. You have one show you want to mention quickly?
Yeah, Young Jedi Adventures. They've released, I think it's a batch of 6 or 7 episodes on Disney Plus. So we have High Republic actual, literary content melding into that show, which at first was just it's episodic, aimed for like 3 or 4 year olds. I have it on in the background. I'm not definitely not 100% of my attention is on that because, it's not meant for me. But I was glancing at the screen and I was like, wait, is that a Nile symbol on the ship? And then I had to actually pay attention to the show. And then there's characters that have like Nile badges on them. They're referred to as pirates. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. At one point, somebody name drops Avar Chris. I'm like, oh, that's never been done before. Another point, we get to see Loden Greatstorm. We get to see Bel Zettifar. They go to Starlight Beacon. They see Maru. And that was a little bit anticlimactic, I gotta say. Cavan Scott, a little bit disappointed in you, man. You wrote Starlight Beacon into an episode, and there was like 30 seconds of Starlight Beacon. I was like,
we know what happens.
No,
so that's okay.
Yeah. little. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more of it. It was like such a big, paraded thing online. IGN put out an article, Starlight Beacon, and we see it for maybe 30 seconds.
The big news there, I think, was Bell and Loden and Cavan Scott writing it.
Yeah, now that was actually a whole 10-minute episode of Bell running around.
I'm a little behind that one.
Bell sounded more like a 40-year-old guy.
Is he voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr.? No,
it was one of those situations, though. Yeah, it was like one of those bad batch situations. Like that voice does not belong in that body. But
anyway, we should move right along because we got a bunch of things to talk about. The way this is going to be, we're going to kind of old school Tractor Beam style. The way I would do it is one thing that stands out, and then we'll go and talk about it. Darth Vader number 40. Start off with, for not to be outdone with all this High Republic stuff. There is a bit of some Dark Droids still going on. Darth Vader number 40, written by Greg Pak, art by Raphael Yanko, colors by Federico Blee, cover by Laniel Francis Yu and Romulo Fajardo Jr. Scourge of Coruscant, a Dark Droids tie-in. What greater prize could the Dark Scourge imagine than Coruscant, a Humanopolis filled with millions of droids? And what greater terror could the people of Coruscant imagine than a horde of scourged droids led by Darth Vader himself? This one, the one thing I'll talk about is the ending. And I was surprised I didn't see Vader willingly allying himself with the Scourge. That was a nice surprise to say, okay, you gotta he tries to confront Palpatine, has this test of Palpatine. Clearly he's not going to defeat him. Not going to defeat him alone. And that seems to me the main point, is that he needs help. He needs an ally. He's tried with Luke. That went bust. He fell down the chute. He's gone. He's a rebel. So let's find this other droid thing that maybe he'll be able to control or not. He's gambling he can. But yeah, that was amazing just to see. I kind of knew it was coming. That second last page, Vader picking up the little plate droid thing there, and then that the last page it would be Vader with the purple eyes, and that was fascinating. Really, again, setting up more coming down the pipe, but seems like this is setting up for an epic conclusion as well. What did you think of Vader number 40?
Yeah, my big takeaway point was Death Troopers. I know it's really a nitty gritty niche kind of thing, but I'm wondering if there's notes passed between the like story group saying, okay, Ahsoka, we're gonna have a Death Trooper moment where they come back to life, and they're like, all right, we'd like you guys to synergize, perhaps, maybe put a Death Trooper being resuscitated by a droid. So I thought that was really cool synergy within the last 2 months having that connection there. But just the idea that Palpatine is the ultimate person of rank, and the idea that Vader thought he had allied, his troops are very allied to him, then Emperor pulling the rug out on him, saying, they actually are ultimately obeying my orders, not yours. You have no power here. I have more hate than you, and hence I am more powerful than you. And then the idea of the droids, I guess at this point, they can just fully sync up with organics, because Death Troopers are organics. I mean, so I thought that was really surprising. Like, oh crap! Like they moved on quick with evolutionizing themselves, and the fact that it's not only organics that they're able to get onto, but the fact that they're resuscitating a dead organic. Like, oh my gosh! Like the power of these things is insane. And then Order 23, I think that's what it was, when Palpatine just purges Coruscant with flame and fire. Kind of reminds me of Game of Thrones with like the wildfire or something, just taking out a whole bunch of innocents and people, and then within moments they're like, okay, it's complete, we just purged all the droids. Like, dang, that's efficient.
Yeah, although I my sense it was just one building or something, but because we know in Return of the Jedi they're fine. Most of the planet is fine, and most of the planet is toppling that statue of this guy who just roasted a bunch of us. I mean, we don't want that happening. Yeah, very, and also great synergy. Great, we can actually talk about syncing up with Ahsoka. Yeah, those droids. It's a little later, a few weeks, but yeah, it's still in the memory, still there. So
yeah,
fun times. Moving right along because we got lots to cover here. First of all, I'll say we have talked about finding another time to talk more about these books. Definitely keep your eyes peeled, your eyes on canon Monday nights, and then I'm sure on a room transmission you're talking about things as well, and your recap show. So your latest recap, I was able to sneak it in to the notes today.
Oh,
so
cool.
Check that out. Yeah, next up, Shadows of Starlight number 1. Finally got to it because I'm finally caught up. Written by Charles Soule, art by Ibrahim Robertson, colors by Proto Bunkers Ferris Cifuentes Sujo. Cover by Mr. Phil Noto. I'll read the description. Who lived? Who died? Answers to the greatest catastrophe of the golden age of the Jedi. Little has been revealed about the year following the fall of Starlight Beacon and the ultimate triumph of the Nihil until now. The Jedi Council, reeling from its losses, has recalled its Jedi Knights from across the galaxy and instituted the emergency measures. Master Yoda, emergency measures, I think the protocols. Emergency measures. Master Yoda has a plan to save the Order and the galaxy, but he must touch the dark side to achieve it, and the consequences will be grave indeed. I'll throw this to you. Finally get to talk about this one too. Shadows of Starlight number 1. Go for it.
Yeah. My big takeaway with this one, there's a lot, but just the lightsaber transitioning of ornate regal lightsaber design to kind of mass-produced, oh crap, we're in a civil war, we don't have time to make these sabers, we're going to be losing sabers left and right. This is, kind of similar to the Clone Wars, I would say, and I just love that transition. And kind of a cool Easter egg there is you got the character from the first Vader arc and Shoals run, Kirik and Fala. Absolutely love that connection.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a connection to the Barrage Vow, the Porter Angle story that is hopefully coming up. And the one takeaway with the Guardian protocols, I'll say is, just the I guess a few quick takeaways. The Guardian protocols, we're going to talk about that a little more on Monday night. the implications with the relationship between the Jedi and the Republic. My big takeaway has got to be who's the character at the end. Now I'm blanking on his name. That's okay. Guy from, because I just finished reading reading the oh gosh, no brain talking too fast. Path of Vengeance and Edge of Balance Precedent.
Oh, that guy.
And now yeah, because
I forget.
you said, oh yeah, Kirk Infala is in there. Aslan Rel.
That's
Aslan
right.
Rel showing up. And again, talking about the key to the defeating the Nile, the key to the defeating the Nameless. No, Aslan Rel and Yoda having to risk touching the dark side, risk not himself, but someone who is consumed by the dark side. And yeah, he's all, yeah, I'm gonna help you. And then he finds the planet where Das Lefbrook's descendants are, who may have a key to Planet X, and he trashes the place. He's Aslan Rel. He doesn't have a plan other than just wipe the Nameless off the map because they're just so infected his own brain and falling the dark side. And so yeah, really, really stunning end to this issue. Really stunning issue overall. Bring him in because again, we thought Carrick would be the big reveal. No, it's Aslan, and yeah, to see Yoda compromise if a little bit or risk compromising. Yes, we got Joel in the comments here saying yes, they all died eventually. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, there we go. Jar Jar, probably. There we go. All right. Again,
hold on 1
second.
second. Can you help me clear up what the heck happened with Yoda and Aslan Rel on that ship? Like, I don't get the motivation. I don't quite understand. I don't know if it's just the comic could have used another panel or two to explain it better for me. But I'm like, why are they crash landing their ship? Like, what the heck is going on here?
Aslan was trying to purge any memory or any reference to the Nameless, so it can't be go into enemy hands or can't fall into the hands of the Nile anymore. And so that's what I read there. Whereas Yoda being curious and knowing that deeper understanding could actually lead to a more peaceable solution, could lead to what are the Nameless actually? What if they're just animals who are hungry? What if they want to go back to their home or something, you know? Maybe something more the heart. I'm thinking of Martyro in Tales of Light and Life, how the heart of the Nile is actually the path of the open hand. And at its roots, at its heart, I think, and that needs to be that Yoda could possibly unearth that and excavate that and bring that out. That's kind of what I'm wondering a little bit. So yeah, that's that again. Keep locked for more on the Guardian protocols. That's a great example of how the Jedi respond to a crisis in the Republic.
For sure.
Very, very intriguing. Let's move right along here. Yeah, Shadows of Starlight #2. This came out yesterday. Written by Charles Soule, art by Marika Cresta. You spelled that wrong. Sorry, I'll fix that.
Marika Cresta. I can't even say it correctly. Marika Cresta.
Man, I'm making typos all over the place. I did this quickly, guys. 5 books to go through. Marika Cresta, colors by Guru EFX, and cover, of course, by Phil Noto. The main thing for me there was I'll think about there was the transitions from Elzar with Elzar and Abar, and how even notice how Elzar, he grows a beard.
Yeah, I love that. He's like totally channeling a Stellan now.
Yeah, so that's just it. I was gonna message you before. Disney has gotten us right buying the right lightsaber because the influence of Stellan is going to continue on in his ability to get solutions and sort out problems and figure things out. Yeah, I guess I don't have time to. I'll fix that in a second. To think through issues and he has that droid that he gives back to Elzar. Well, he dies and then Elzar gets him back. Elzar becoming the Star Wars, the strongest Star Wars characters are able to be more of a scoundrel, more of an out there kind of outside the box, and do it for have a more heroic motivation that's able to play nice with the team. I think about Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon's a character really know when to think outside the box and when to be on the team. If Elzar is able to have more of his
Mhm.
more of that Stellan in him, combine it with what makes Elzar so great. He could be a really great heroic character, more influential character than I think he was in Phase One, frankly. And then Avar stuck behind the Occlusion
Oh,
Zone.
so good.
Even just the visual in her design. I mean,
So
the
good.
striking thing with those what's it called? The concept art is the effect of the destruction of Starlight Beacon and
Mhm.
the just the presence of the Occlusion Zone and how Avar, she's on this planet by herself
Mhm.
and she's taken on, she's shed this whole gleaming light, even the blonde hair and the jewel and everything, and the gold robes. No, she's got the brown robes. She's more rugged and I think more down to earth and real, and almost what Elzar was, more so. And so, yeah, that year can change them. Um, it's interesting that they don't have Stellan to kind of pull them apart, pull the children apart, and say, who knows how well they're going to be able to uphold their Jedi vows. Got a bit of a what's in Legends. There's the what's her name, the blue Twi'lek Jedi, and what's his face? Oh man, I'm blanking on there were two Jedi masters who had a thing as masters, and I don't
Really?
know. See how well they can be. It's a good, like at the beginning of Light of the Jedi, they mentioned Jedi romances and how they
Mhm.
want to be together, but it's forbidden because they're celibate. And to see, it would be an interesting way of exploring that. I think that's set up too, because Avar is by herself and on her own, and that's kind of a theme, even with Vader. A theme with all the way through is all the way into to Rey.
Mhm.
Well, with Vader in this comic, to Rey in Rise of Skywalker, we're better together. And the Stormball is this thing that divides and separates. So, and I've talked for too long about this. What's your thing? One or two or three things about Shadows of Starlight #2.
All right, I will say the beginning was very poignant. I like how Charles Soule was really able to write, and who was the artist on this?
This
Marika
was
Cresta
America
was
Chris
able, really able to go ahead and show us why this is important. Like these characters, they're this trio, and it's like they just lost Stella and Geo. So a lot of times it's hard for comics to really evoke emotion. But I feel like through the creative team here, they're really able to show us that. Just the cover of this issue with Starlight Beacon opening up, and like everything about it was just really just hit you in the feels. And General Vice, I'm going to throw another crazy little canon tidbit. That's what I love getting out of these things. You can give all the explanation and I'll give like the simple,
Sure.
oh, look at that member berry thing. I don't know. But it's very much like, yeah, if you paid attention to phase two, we're getting those phase two little callbacks here. You had good old Porter Engle, the Blade of Bardota, fighting against this character. And we heard that she's gonna be back. We haven't seen her in the flesh, but you see the same drop ships. And just the idea of this badass story of kind of a rise of kind of of the Ahsoka show, like they're on that planet Peridian, they're just like walking around, just samurai Jedi, and that's kind of what it is with Avar Chris. She's got that cool cloak, and her idea of, oh, I need to seek vengeance now. I think that's going to turn her to the dark side. I really think she's going to turn into a dark Jedi by the end of this because she's just so driven. And now I've driven her because she's the guardian or the marshal of Starlight. So she feels that guilt of failing essentially at protecting these people. And now she's going to probably go down a much darker path. If you guys have played Jedi Survivor, I just played through the whole game again. And we see what happens with Cal Kestis, like without giving anything away, he flirts with the dark side. But I could see her kind of falling down the same path, being so tunnel vision when it comes to getting revenge, knowing Marchion Ro, going for Marchion Ro, knowing the leader. She's got to assassinate him. That's not the Jedi way. They're not supposed to be doing this sort of thing.
True.
So I'm very curious to see how her journey goes to the end of this.
Yeah, I really love two things. At the moment, the flashback with the Padawans, so the three of them as Padawans, but also that it takes seriously her, her absence from Starlight Beacon and the responsibility. I mean, objectively speaking, she's kind of right. She wasn't there, and that's Stellan. Stellan was saying, "Where's Avar? What's she doing? Why is she going out and fighting the Nile, trying to take the fight when her responsibility is to take care of Starlight, and for all the symbol it is. And I love how for people who there are folks who were all okay, fallen star, what's the importance of Starlight Beacon. This is reminding us just how important that was for Lena So, for the galaxy. With Starlight Beacon there, can the Occlusion Zone even have an effect? Is a great question. One thing we said, we know who the 20th Fallen Master is. We know who the 19th Fallen Master is. We don't know who the 18th Fallen Master is.
Oh, okay.
Could it be Avar? I don't know. I hope not. I hope this is actually her shedding kind of the reputation that's still inside.
Okay.
Azar says that her reputation has gotten to her. So maybe you're shedding that. Speaking of the 19th Fallen Master, there's a segue for you.
Yeah, really.
Number 1, written by Kevin Scott, art by Ario Anindito, Jim Toe, Mark Morales, colors by Jim Campbell, and cover again by Mr. Phil Noto.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Can we comment on the awesome cover design that Phil Noto has given us for the 3 first issues of each of these phases? Like
So
the symmetrical design of having 3 characters with like a little spaceship or Starlight Beacon or something. I love the uniformity. I love the likeness of everything, and in a way it ties together. So I had to make that clear. Great design.
Number 15 at the end of phase 1, I think, is the one that has the parallel with Kyiv being like pretending to be undercover as a Nihil, right? Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. On Iron Cannon Instagram, I finally took to Instagram and just took a photo of all 3 of those issues. Yeah, just to line them up and just to show us, Phil, you know what you're doing. Yeah. So let's do this. High Republic number 1, written by Kevin Scott, art by Ario Anindito. I'll read this again. Jim Toe, Mark Morales, colors by Jim Campbell, and again cover by Phil Noto. Star Wars: The High Republic returns for its explosive Phase 3. A year after the destruction of Starlight Beacon, Marky and Roe and the Nile stand victorious. The galaxy is in turmoil. The once mighty Jedi are outclassed. The Republic is on its knees. On the edges of the galactic frontier, Jedi Master Kyiv Trennis leads a desperate assault against an invading force. The odds are stacked against her, but a Jedi always clings to hope. The force is with her, right? Not so fast. What do you think of this one?
Explosive is one hell of a way to put it. I don't think... No, we definitely have not had a more explosive, action-packed series opener than this one. And it's because we have these characters. We know who these characters are. We don't have to spend a lot of time with building up what's important to them and their characteristics. We know Kyiv Trennis. Yeah. We know the commander that's in charge of the ship that's from the Insider Stories. Damn it, if I'm not forgetting her name again. I keep thinking Orla Jaheni, but it's not. It's
Orla
not Orla.
No.
What is it?
The commander of the... Oh, yeah. Sure, I don't quite remember.
Velko.
Yeah, Velko, that's right.
It was really cool seeing her. But yeah, this is what I mean. Like we know Lorna D. We know all these characters, so they're able to jump in. We know what the nameless are, and it just shows you. It goes right in, right? It goes all in. In case you forgot how dangerous the Nile are, they're represented in spades here. In case you've forgotten how adept at combat prowess Lorna D is, you get to see her in action again. And it's just, it's a great way of catching up, but also pushing the story very forward with the Hutts, very forward with the Nile, and just how much power they've gained to the point where the Hutts are supposed to be powerful, but the Hutts are actually needing their help. So it definitely had a lot of awesome moments. We get introduced to a new Jedi Santar, and he's dead very quick. So, yeah, I really enjoy this. It was really cool. Some twists and turns in here. I think Tarek is dead now. I'm pretty sure. There's a high body count in this thing already.
Yep, that's High Republic for you. I can do that. I gotta say, my one thing. Well, it's not my one thing, but I gotta say, Lorna D returning. Lorna D returns. From the it's the Kevin Scott audio drama. Lorna D. I love that. She's such a fantastic character, such a fantastic villain, and now she apparently the Hutt Forcer. I admit, we were messaging back and forth. I was a little confused who she was, where she comes in. I think maybe if they seated her like as the hooded figure a little more, they bring her up, jumps over with that that creature, and then we
That's
don't
so
see her for a
cool.
while. It was a cool moment. We don't see her for a while. It was a little confusing, but other than that, yeah, this was exciting. My big takeaway, I'm gonna keep talking about this. I'm gonna keep talking about this character, Keeve Trennis. Seeing her as a master, I'm still kind of confused with why she's a master so young. But first we got the Tales of Light and Life story that
Mhm.
where she comes and really saves the day, and just and really has this compassionate leadership for these kids on this planet. And then here she shows up and she is leading the assault, leading the force here, against, trying to break up this Hutt Nihil alliance somehow. Um, and I mean, one thing I'll say is just she seems a lot more confident. She seems a lot more. She was confident before. Now she's really stepped into her own. And even just, I think her character design is part of that. The longer hair, just she looks older because she is older. She has more responsibility. She is a Jedi Master now, and we do get that. I mean, the Tarek and Sarah are following her orders, and Centaur is following her orders, except when he doesn't, and then he goes into gets taken up by Nameless. Even then, Lorna is still able to best her because the Nameless are that strong and Lorna's that strong. And yeah,
Yeah.
so well, again, I'm always curious, where is this character going? What is Kevin Scott's plan for her?
Mm.
But clearly, part of it is, before I say this a lot, she was the contrast to Vern, right? Vern is the young knight who thinks she has it, and now, as we know, she actually doesn't. She's more of a wayfinder. Keeve was also the young knight who doesn't think she has it, and Skier, who her memory shows up in this,
Mm.
really believed in her, really was like, you're gonna be a
Yeah.
better Jedi than me. And now she is stepping into it, even though she's facing this defeat. Last thing I'll say, I really love the politics of this. I find that really fascinating,
Mm.
that the Hutts and the Nihil are needing to ally with each other, and just the way the Jedi Council and the Chancellor So needs some good news back for the Senate, that we're preventing this. We can't have this happen, because that's too much of
Yeah.
outer rim independence for a chancellor to want, as we'll know in a couple centuries. So very well written by Kevin Scott there. If you have anything, well, what's your take on this? Or do you have anything
Yeah.
to
What
say
happened
about
to
that?
Moraga the Hutt, who was their ally? Did she get killed?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I'm just wondering, like, where's she in the picture with like her brethren, like
Mhm.
trying to make this? I thought like maybe there's gonna be like Hutts versus Hutts,
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe
because
that
that
would
was
be
one of
fun.
my favorite moments in the first run of
Yes.
these comics. Was just this like really like sudden, shocking moment of a Hutt
Mhm.
arriving with rancors and all this crazy stuff like we've never seen before.
Yeah. To take on the red herring of the Drenger, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Quick shout out to the Republic troops that aren't clone troopers. I don't know. I'm just crazy about always seeing the Republic Army when it's not just clone troopers. Same
yeah.
with the Separatists. I like seeing organics rather than droids fighting in wars. So
Mhm.
it's kind of neat getting a little bit of the cool red and no, the cool blue and white type of armor. Like, all right, yeah, let's get some black series of that after we
Yeah.
get some Jedi black series here.
Yeah, Republic Defense Coalition. I mean, the
Yeah,
whole
yeah, that's the
idea of that,
RDC.
yeah,
Yeah.
is such a different idea than a grand army. It's not a grand army. It's a defense coalition of just
Mm-hmm.
planets chipping
Yep.
in
Yep.
to help take care. And yeah, seeing real human characters, organic characters, adds more stakes there. Okay, let's move on, and then we might have some time for a bit of a larger look back. Tales
Yep.
from the Occlusion Zone, no big deal, written by Lydia Kang. Can reach back in your memory there, Chris, from Insider 222. I'll throw this to you. What do you think of this short story?
Oh man, I thought this was amazing. I got a bias when it comes to Jocelyn Pica-Agrin. That was my first look into the High
Yeah,
Republic proper with issue whatever it was where they first appeared for the
yeah,
first ever High Republic story in canon. Just the idea, as I was just saying, the everyday man, the average guy that's stuck in the middle of this giant conflict, and then we've always had that, right? Han Solo,
hmm,
Lando Calrissian, Chewbacca, these characters that are just kind of on the drift. They're part of the larger conflict, but they don't have as much pull as far as force powers or anything like that.
right.
So the idea that these people, they're just trying to have a vacation, they're just trying to get by, they're helping out, They have their own ship. I forget the name of it now, but it's a interesting. They're on I think Tarkin's planet,
Yeah,
I
they're on
believe.
Ariadu, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it would have been fine like that, but then they dropped the bombshell that, Pika is actually pregnant. And
Yeah.
oh man, that adds to the stakes tenfold. Now you got these characters, their idea is to try to find this ship out in space. And I'm just saying, like, of course, they're like, oh, we'll be back in 2 days or whatever it is. Now they're going to be in the Occlusion Zone, and that's where we got Tales of the Occlusion Zone. So I'm guessing, like, we're going to get all their story, like this, what is it? Phase ones was like a bunch of different characters. I'm guessing that this one will be mainly about these two characters stuck behind I hope it is anyway. But yeah, I just like how the High Republic is so good with, having the grand adventure, but also having the personal stories that really up the ante for what is involved and who is involved. And it adds more to the story when you can, relate to these people. You can understand their strife in this larger conflict. What about you? What'd you think about this one, Matthew?
Yeah, well, just to pick up on what you're saying, Star Wars is great when it has the personal and domestic uh, thrown into a larger conflict and even a cosmic conflict. But we don't see that so much here because they're not Jedi, and the Jedi would be available, but you can't get them. I mean, they're too busy, or something. I guess the Guardian protocols won't let them necessarily. I don't know. Yeah, so they're thrown into the Occlusion Zone. They're coming back in 9 months. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Well, I'll say is you can't get more domestic than growing a family, and what does that do? What does that do to Pika? I mean, kind of strengthens her resolve to ensure that her child has a galaxy that's safe from this Nihil threat. Whereas Joss, he's all, I got to keep this kid safe now. I got to keep my wife safe now. Really great character moments in this story between those two. Even the general, the RDC general, and Hedda Cassett's niece, I think it is.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Little
That's
nods
cool.
there. They're doing a great job of tying everything together, and so I'm glad Lydia Kang.
She's great.
Whenever I think of pregnancy, I do think of gender questions, and Lydia Kang handling this very gendered question of a pregnancy, and how a mother to be. I don't know if Lydia has kids herself, but a mother to be in this professional environment, in a place of conflict. Her agency going to go forward and step forward, and how Pika is immediately, let's go for it, let's do it. Knowing that she's pregnant. So no big deal. Sorry. Oh yeah, I can talk. No big deal. Just a bun in the oven. I think that's the sarcasm of the title. Really well done. I don't know. Sorry guys. With Tales from the Occlusion Zone, I know the first two in Tales from Starlight Beacon were about these two characters. Maybe they'll line up with Avar in some other story. Who knows? But I'd be great if there were more of these characters. I just don't know if that's necessarily.
I think.
But
once you introduce like the baby into the equation, it changes everything for Josh, and you could just everything just suddenly whirls into his mind. Like, it's hard enough, and I don't have the experience personally of having any kids, but it's hard enough to realize that situation when your life isn't in imminent danger.
Yeah, that's true.
You add that to it, and I can't really imagine the amount of the feelings that you have to go in this situation, but yet your wife is the one that's having the baby. It is all gung ho, and yet you're the guy. You're just there to support her, and you're just like, no, we can't do this. We can't do this. It's just like a sudden moment of fear, like, oh crap.
Yeah, I love the way this story, and even the Shadows #2 with Avar dealing with real human consequences, real things that stories might gloss over or ignore or not be able to give enough time to. Here they really do, and both this and and with Avar, even the Cassett and her blunder,
Mm-hmm.
delivering the news to Joss when that really should be Pika's job. When she was going to get around to do that, I don't know. But yeah, it's yeah, really, really well done. I guess we have a bit of time. We've made it all the way through. Somehow, being very quick. How do you think phase 3 has now kicked off? Well, how have you felt about the beginning of phase 3 so far?
I'll let you know after I read the book next week. How's that
Okay,
sound?
yeah.
Because I always judge. I mean, yes, it's the beginning of the phase, but the books are the movies, right? The adult novels are like the actual movie that you're going to see.
The
And that's what I'm
pillars,
so
yeah.
excited about. I will say right now they're going good, but like come next week or probably the week after that, because there's no way I can finish the book in like 2 days.
Yeah.
Because I'll get it as soon as I can on Tuesday morning. As soon as Barnes and Noble is open, you know, I'll be at the door waiting to go in there to grab the book. But maybe I won't.
We
I'll definitely get it at some point on Tuesday.
Mail it in. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But no, so far, like I said before about High Republic issue number 1, the idea that this is a different kind of phase. This is a phase where we're not having to build up this backstory of what has happened. We're already knowing that. We're already knowing the characters. Yeah, there's going to be a 1 or 2 new ones thrown in the mix there. Santar, Rip, too soon. Whatever with that guy. But I'm really loving it so far. I'm really loving it so far with just the idea of the Nameless, the Hutts, the Nile, the Occlusion Zone is such a cool idea. Having characters like Avar Chris stuck behind enemy lines and having to find out what the heck to do to get out of there.
Yeah.
Elzar Mann dealing with trying to find his best friend. We didn't even talk about the Tythonic device that he used, and the droid of Stellan's used a lightsaber. Just destroyed the console.
You're not going to jump to hyperspace from within the Occlusion Zone, buddy. It's not something you're going to do.
Yeah, I was thinking he was going to pull like a Skywalker trick, you know, where it's like the Skywalker chiss are able to like use the Force to go through any like obstacle in hyperspace or something like that. But that was interesting. I don't think we've ever seen a droid use a lightsaber like that before. But just like you said, Stellan may be dead, but he is going to be the spark that'll light the fire that'll, you know, burn the Nile down, so to speak, because now he's going to take up the mantle of Stellan. I'm assuming he's going to be using his lightsaber at the last shot of that panel. Had the lightsaber hilt there. I mean, he still has his own lightsaber, I'm assuming. Maybe he'll dual wield lightsabers. Who knows? That'd be pretty badass having a cross saber lightsaber one hand and his other lightsaber in the other. But yeah, what about you? What's your reaction? I like it a lot.
I love how we're thrown in. I love how we've those of us who've read everything so far definitely been rewarded with all this, especially with phase 2. Again, I'm still Aslan Rel. It seems to be as the standout here. Aslan, Yoda and Aslan as, you know, the fight really for the soul of the Jedi and the way that the Nile provoked that. And so, you know, this is how we win, not by killing what we hate, by saving what we love. And, you know, where does Avar land on that? Where does Kiev land on that? How is Elzar able to grow in that? You know, next Shadows of Starlight number 3, we got Bell, and we're gonna have Wreath come up, and you know how these younger knights, Bell's probably getting knighted as you suggested in the cover. What do they do, and how do they step forward? What they've learned from the time in phase 1 to actually recover the soul of the Jedi from what the Nile have taken, and again, but also how does that still lead to the habit of hiding in the temple, hiding behind the Republic, Order 66, all that. So off to a bang. Loving that they're spreading it out more. Again, I've said this before. George Mann's I have Darkness, that was called. That's coming up, so I'll be able to get that on Wednesday. So I got that ordered from back of Phoenix. So definitely going to be able to get that, cover that, and you know we won't have to worry about the next show coming up. Yeah, there. Here we go. You got Bell. We can show us that Bell.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Jedi Zedafar. There he is with the cutoff thing. If that's probably is an actual thing that's going to happen, but
I would hope.
But yeah, it's about time. Come on, like he's had 2 of his masters be destroyed by the Nameless. He's gone through so much. He's gone and saved Burry you know, and you know, that was an incredible story in Tales of Light and Life. So yeah, phase 3 off to a great start. Again, phase 2 is my favorite. This could be interesting, and everything they've set up now, they don't, like you said, they don't have to set more things up. They can just go and they can just tell the story. And I think this is the story they ultimately wanted to tell in phase 3. That's usually how endings go, right? That's the story you ultimately want to tell, is this. And so I'm grateful that we're finally here. We're finally able to do it, finally able to cover it here on the Tractor Beam and on the Ion Cannon podcast, on Outer Transmissions. Where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, I gotta mention one thing because I don't know if you found this footnote in Starlight, Shadows of Starlight issue number 2. I was frantically looking at it. I didn't want to, look too long on the stream here, but I did make a note of something about Master Yoda on Travix Prime.
Interesting.
Did we get that in any story? Because that was mentioned as like, oh, Yoda's off doing this thing on Travix Prime, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. Is that with Aslan Rel? I don't know if I caught that, but
I think that's just him. I mean, I thought he was going to research with like Creighton in Creighton's legacy or something, but
okay.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's because we know he's been out of the picture a lot in phase 1, and then yeah. So
because in the last one he has Aslan Rel, and they're going around. Maybe that's where they went.
Maybe that's where he picked up Aslan. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's what's cool. You know, you get these little footnotes here and there that, sometimes can lead to bigger pictures and things like that. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Sometimes. On that note, you can keep it locked here. Where can they find you on the internet, Chris?
Yeah, you can find me playing Jedi Survivor on youtube.com/StarRaptor. As of tomorrow, Friday, I will have all 12 parts of my entire walkthrough. Story only, coming in at around 13.6 hours long. So if you want to sit there and kind of get the movie experience, or in this case, the series experience length of time of this, then go ahead, watch it. I don't die too many times and I don't get lost too many times. So it should be a rather easy, enjoyable way if you're not a gamer, if you don't have a next-gen system to play the game. Although I hear it's coming on Xbox One and PS4 at some point. Besides that, I'm talking about comics. Like Matthew said, every Thursday before we go live here, I have my updated like 5 to 6 minute usual length of time video. In this case, it was over 10 minutes long because so many cool points of the High Republic. So I have that coming out. We do our Outer Rim Transmission podcast where we'll be talking about the series, the movies, the news, and everything else revolving around Star Wars in a much longer discussion, usually an hour or so. That's every Sunday around 7 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully you guys can join us there. That's youtube.com/StarRaptor. You can find me on Twitter, the same handle at StarRaptor. I have to change my name on here because I should put at StarRaptor on the Ion Cannon. But yes, you can find me at StarRaptor on Twitter, talking about Star Wars, Marvel, all the good stuff, pop culture stuff. Yeah. Thanks for having me on once again.
Yeah, all good. Thanks for sticking around even through the strike. It's been great to kickstart this podcast and really give it the shot in the arm that it needed. I'm always looking forward to every Thursday, even though I got to go eat lunch. I'm hungry, but looking forward to this podcast is going nowhere. We're going to keep going strong, except for next week.
What are we going to do next week?
Next week I'm off. I have a work thing all day, so can't really. I know I'm away from home, so I can't actually record Tractor Beam. But Chris, I'm sure you'll still do your recaps and whatnot. So yeah, keep an eye on that. On Monday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Joel and I, one more thing to plug.
I wanna get in the habit of shouting out next week's comics to keep people in the loop.
I do want to do that too.
And a really good resource. I want to shout out this podcast, Star Wars Splash Page.
Yes.
Very good podcast. I've been listening to them for years. They always do a great job of even on Twitter and Facebook of just finding out exact dates for when the comics are coming out and constantly updating
the dates
so they're accurate. They're great. So November 15th, next Wednesday, we have Star Wars Visions. That's the Peach Momoka one shot. We have Dark Droids number 4, the flagship of this generation. We have Dr. Afro 38. And then we have a release of Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary covers, if that floats your boat. Oh, we also have The Mandalorian season 2, number 6. Oh, it's another big week next week.
So only 3 books that we'll talk about, but
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, we could flip through the covers. Why not? That'd be fun. Yeah, Adi Granov, I think it does those. Anyway, yeah. So definitely go to your local comic book shop or check it on digital. But go to your local comic book shop; they'll have them. Start a pull list. Just say everything Star Wars. You'll be good. Yeah, and great to talk about. I mean, good to hear you. We can talk about Marvel films. We can talk about whatever films. We can talk about Star Trek.
Yep.
Joel and I on Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, we're talking about Jedi and the Republic and different the evolution of the Jedi Republic relationship and different key moments in that relationship, both in Legends and canon. I'm going to talk about the Guardian protocols and interesting video by Star Wars Explained talking about how the Guardian protocols may have continued on during the Clone Wars or reactivated during the Clone Wars. And so that's just always an interesting question that I like to think about and how it should be. How should that relationship be? And then so no tractor beam next week, but tonight, flagship SWU. Go to their socials at the SWU, ask a question on the Discord, ask a question there. It's right here on all these platforms and on the YouTube channel. Just see more. I'm at personally on Twitter at NEUG45, Instagram and Threads, MNEUG1138. I have posted a bit more on Threads lately. We'll see. Instagram, Threads, and Twitter at Ion Cannon Pod, EYEONCANONPOD. Again, check out your local comic book shop for next week's comics. I might tweet a little bit about them. We'll see. And then, Chris, you got your recap there. But until then, happy reading.